Hello again, everybody. Let's see if this will work. I'm going to try this again. Is it still sideways? Oh my goodness. Is it really wanting to do that again? No, 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 no. All right, let's try this. No, okay, good. It's working. I think it just opened the wrong one. Yay, I restarted YouTube and we're going to try again here. 10 minutes late. I apologize again for the crazy. I'm going to see if I can do that later. I'm going to delete the old one. All right. No, 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 no. Okay, I want, yes. Okay, I'm gonna give a few minutes for everyone to find this one. So sorry for the confusion and weirdness. Sometimes YouTube and phones and technology. Yay, and it's not buffering, so that's good. I see it's streaming and working, so I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed here that it'll keep working and everything will go smoothly. So hello Birdie, hello Mary, welcome. I've got a few people on there. I think Kinnery will be joining us shortly. That was seriously the weirdest ever. And I don't know why it just wouldn't rotate, it wouldn't work. And then it froze up and started buffering. So I thought, sometimes it's just better to abandon ship and start over. So, yay, right side up, sounds working. Thank you, everybody. All right. Yes, I'm back, Sonia. I came the technology fail here. So hopefully we've had our mishap for this live. So maybe moving on from here, everything will go smoothly. We'll just keep fingers crossed here for that. So, all right. So got a few people here popping on. It looks like we're starting to roll again on the fresh new one. Oh, good sound. Yes, I got a new earpiece here last week and it has been working amazing. So I'm really happy for that. So I'm glad everyone can hear good and the sound is good. All right. So as we start rolling, so today, part of why I'm so crazy unprepared, I had a quick dentist appointment really early this morning. I had a crown that just needed to change out the temporary to the permanent. Didn't seem like a big deal. And then yesterday I found out, oh, we also scheduled your cleaning for the same time. And I was like, oh, all right. No, that's fine. I've got time. And then I didn't realize that they had to get me numb. So I came home and couldn't feel this side of my face and my tongue was all numb. And so I thought, I don't even know if I'm going to, I mean, if I can't feel my tongue, we better not be doing this live because that really would give you a good opportunity to laugh at me. So fortunately, I thought out in time. So I can go ahead and do this today. And I did a little bit of practice work along here. The card we're making today is inspired by one of our design team. Taeun, and I don't know for sure if I'm saying her name right. I hope so. Normally, I would just look at this on my phone or technology or whatever. I don't know. It might have been included in the email, the informational email that went out, but I did print out a quick copy of it. It's probably really going to be hard for you to see, but I'll show you a little bit up close. But I don't know if you saw this on our blog a couple days ago. Unfortunately, we had a bit of a issue with our blog. Some of it's going to be restored and fixed, but our card blog vanished over the weekend. So all the scrapbook projects are there, but unfortunately, you can still see this one on our Instagram, but this isn't on. But it was just so gorgeous that we thought it'd be fun to kind of reimagine it and kind of recreate it a little bit. But yeah, if you look back on Instagram, you should be able to see it there. Um, but yeah, so we're going to recreate it a little. I'm going to add some twists on it, kind of simplify a little. I'm also going to combine a little bit with, I don't know if you were on last night's craft hour with Pink Fresh with Jeff and Natasha. I'm going to do a little bit of kind of the technique. She actually used the same background stamp on that here. So we're going to use that, only I'm going to twist it up a little with some watercolors, but kind of use that basic layout. It was just so fun and brilliant, that whole design. So that's why I didn't fully have my sample. So I did a little bit of work. I know we were super sad about the blog. We're working hard to get as much restored as we can and kind of get things. But yeah, it was a crazy, crazy weekend. And exactly, Cheryl, technology is great until it's not. Then it's almost worse than being helpful. So All right. So, couple quick reminders here, real quick, while I'm thinking of it. I'll name some of these a little later too. I am here today, but tomorrow I'm hitting the road on a little bit of a road trip, so I will not be doing Facebook Live this week. And then next Tuesday, I won't do YouTube Live. I'll be getting home next Tuesday night. So we should be back on next week for Thursday Facebook Live. So just bear with me there because I'll be gone for those. Um, and if you've not joined before, make sure and leave lots of comments, ask questions, answer questions. We'll pick a $15 gift card winner at the end. And yes, and I see Kinnery has joined on, so she'll be picking that winner at the end. She'll also try and post links to everything as I use it. And like I said, I have not fully put this card together. I played a little bit with a couple of the parts and steps on it. So bear with me as I kind of figure out. I was going to look back on the blog and get a little more info on how Taeyoon had put this card together. And since that had been deleted and is gone, I wasn't able to do that. So I kind of want to ask her how she did some of it because it's so seriously pretty the way she did her background. But we're just going to add our own twist to the background and kind of recreate it in our own way. So I see we have enough people on here now that we're streaming the right way. Sounds good, picture's good, no more buffering. I'm going to go ahead and flip the camera around and get started so we can get this finished because I got some packing to do before I take off tomorrow. So I need to kind of get rolling on some of that here pretty soon. So, all right. And you're going to see all over my desk as I turn this down. I have the little bit of practice bits that I kind of sort of threw together here right before we started. So I kind of wanted to play a little with the idea I had in my head for part of it, just to make sure that, it's always nice to make sure it comes out how you're hoping in the end. So I'm going to be using, first of all, here, let me show you again, maybe a little better view here. Let's see. I'm going to adjust this a little bit that way. I don't know. Never know quite how to make it fully even. Here's that gorgeous cardigan that I'm going to be recreating. This is just a crappy photo on cheap white printer paper, but I wanted to be able to kind of show you a little bit real fast. But seriously gorgeous, gorgeous card. Mine's going to be a little bit simpler because I don't want to spend a ton of time doing all of the coloring and everything. So I'm going to make mine a little bit simpler. And then I think she probably did some ink blending and then it maybe looks like stamped over it in white or heat embossed. I'm not entirely sure, but I would love to recreate that background because I can tell it's a really pretty background. But I'm going to use some liquid watercolors. And then, of course, the stamp that we're using for this is this beautiful floral shadow stamp. And I did a similar technique um, with actually the pop out sunburst. So we're going to use just the coordinating die today, the pop out sunburst die on one of these backgrounds, but I'm going to kind of show you a way to stamp with these big background stamps and some liquid watercolors. The great thing is it helps if you don't have a MISTI. This is another way that you can use these background stamps without having to have a MISTI or anything else like that. All right, I see lots of people popping in. Hi, Catherine. And of course, we might even use one of these practice pieces for the card so I don't have to wait for our newest one to dry. And then this is what was super clever about Taylor's card that I loved was just how perfectly this floral fits around that circle. I love when you can find things like that that work together. But this is from the pretty Take Pride stamp set. So we've got that ready to go. I'm going to go ahead. So these sample pieces I did, and I don't know fully which one I like better. These are two different kinds of watercolor paper. These two over here were done with Bristol Smooth, so it's a really nice smooth surface. Um, these ones over here I did with just some tonic watercolor paper, and I kind of like the watercolor texture, and I almost feel like the colors kind of came out brighter and bolder. So this was my first impression, and then I misted with water again and got a second. Same with this. Here's the first one and the second. So I'm just gonna I think we'll do, let's see. I think I'll do one, maybe I'll do one with each. I'll just, I don't know. Which one do you prefer? Would you rather do, and yes, Gwen, you can go watch last night's craft hour. They're always posted again for a rewatch. All right, which do you prefer? Do you like it better on the Bristol Smooth or do you like it on the watercolor cardstock? I think we'll just pick one and stamp it, and then I'll go ahead and just die cut from one of my already dry pieces. I did these just about half an hour ago. Well, half an hour before we started, which I guess is longer than half an hour ago. Watercolor. Okay, everyone likes the watercolor paper, and I think I kind of agree with that. I just wanted to see what everyone else's vote was. So I'm going to get both those pieces out that I have. I'm going to set these aside for now so I don't get them ruined as we go through the process here. And I'm just going to leave. I have my stamp here still on the backing. You could take it off, but I really don't even need to worry about that. And I'm going to grab, this is just my palette that I already put some of these colors out. I'm going to give them a quick shake up. I'm using Bubblegum, which is such a fun name, don't you think? And then Clementine, a little bit of a nice bright bold orange, and a little bit of Sunshine. Who doesn't want to use liquid watercolor called Sunshine? I mean, especially on a cloudy gray day like today is here in Washington again. All right, and then I just have a simple wide brush and a thing of water. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave this face up on my desk. Let me grab, I just remembered I do want some scratch paper here real quick for in a moment. And what I'm going to do is just lightly brush on straight onto my stamp this nice bold watercolor. And I'm just spreading it out. A little bit's going to get inside in the grooves and the nooks and crannies, but that's okay. And this first one is going to be the boldest, brightest impression of all of them because the color is kind of going straight on, and these are so super highly pigmented. But that's what's fun about it. So, and I'm going to kind of mix the colors a little more random along here. All right, now I just have a simple spray bottle. I'm going to move my watercolor paper out of the way. I'm going to lightly mist over this just to make sure it's wet. Then I'm going to take the textured side, because I like that texture, plop it straight down, try to hold it smooth. Then I can lay this over, that way I won't get as much watercolor all over my hands. And I can just press firmly around to make sure it's fully got a really good impression. Peel off my backing plate and peel that up. And there's that magical, isn't that fun? Look how bold and bright that is. All right, I'm going to set that aside real quick because there's still enough ink on here. I can do this at least one more time. I can actually do it several times if I want to. And same thing, I'm going to use that same piece of paper just to lay over so I can press it all the way around, make sure I've smoothed it all the way out. Then I can carefully peel that up and flip it over, and then we have another slightly softer version. All right, I'm going to grab, I have a piece of the Bristol there that's trimmed down. I'm out of the pre-trimmed watercolor pieces, so I'm just going to quickly mist it one more time and do even one more impression on the Bristol. This piece was trimmed a little bit bigger, so I just hate to waste. Yes, Sharon, it's kind of a fun backwards design. How the flower stays. Yeah, I might have gotten a little too much water on that. That's going to be a little more abstract on the image there. Here, let's just use, well, mop up the extra water. Yes, and even, so each of these you can use for different things. You can pick which layer and one you want. So there's even like a super soft one I can get right at the end there. All right, I'm going to wipe a little of the color off of this, but last time I just took it to my kitchen sink, and it's all watercolor, so it's water-based and it'll clean off really well without any trouble. But I'll set that aside for now and deal with that in a little bit when we're all done. I know it is a little, I just try and do it slowly. I don't hurry because I don't want it to flop back down and mess it up. So, all right, so as these dry, these are both the Bristol. smooth watercolor paper. And then here's both versions of this. And the beautiful thing with watercolors, each one is going to be a little bit different. And if you want a softer color to start with, I could have thinned them down a little bit with water before I put them on, and then I wouldn't have gotten that first super bold. But if you go watch Natasha's video from last night, I totally have all kinds of ideas on how I can use all these backgrounds. It might take me a while, but I'll probably turn them all into some kind of card along the way. But here's that first one, super bright and bold, then a little bit softer, but again, still lots of color. Like Kinnery just said, they're super highly pigmented. So you get so much color. And then actually, I think this one was third if I'm going around. Even that felt like it had too much water, it still made a pretty good impression, especially as it starts to dry. And then that one. So I'm going to move these all the way out of the way here to dry, like the Bristol darker one now. Yeah, so those last two were Bristol. These first two were the watercolor. So I'm going to move those out of the way. I'm just going to move them to a different desk. And then I'm just going to grab, I think I'll use, let's see, should we use the first or the second of my other ones that I did? Yes, I know. I do like, and they will dry a little bit lighter, not as much on the watercolor. Um, Second and fourth. So let's use the lighter one. I kind of agree with that assessment there. So let me make sure my watercolor's out of the way here so I don't make a mess of anything. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and die cut this. And I'm gonna start off by making sure, I like to use a little adhesive tape on the back and kind of wrap it around to the front just to make sure it holds it in place. As you can see, this die is pretty much exactly the size of an A2 card front, which is awesome. Yes, Natasha's card was beautiful last night. So she did this technique with our dye inks. So I just kind of thought it'd be fun to twist it up a little and use watercolors. All right, I'm just going to go die cut this. I'm not going to drag my die cut machine over for this one die cut. Anyone else recognize the sound of my Gemini Junior there? All right, I'm going to very carefully pop these out of here because I don't want to get them out of order because I want to be able to adhere them onto my card front in the right order. Okay, now I can pop them all out. The beautiful thing is I really could use this outer frame even for another card. I'm going to use it for getting all of these in place. But I think I'll probably save this piece because it almost looks really pretty and delicate for something else. All right. So yeah, see, doesn't that look like just a fun watercolor? Yeah, that'll be getting some use here down the road. All right. All right, let me pull out, sorry, I was reading some comments to make sure that I know where I'm going. All right, so what I'm gonna do here just to start with is I'm gonna use that same tape real quick here, and I'm gonna adhere this die, the outer edges here. I'm just gonna hold it in place on my card front real quickly here. Let's see. Temporarily do that, and then I can tape around the edges. This way I can use it as a guide to place all of these other pieces in here. Okay, then I can just cover the edges. I'll hold it in place that way. Move that around so it's not in the way. I just want to make sure I had it lined up evenly. All right, and then I'm going to use, so this is going to be the slow, tedious part. So I'm going to just start working here because I want to pop each of these pieces up on foam adhesive because we got to have the dimension, right? hard to resist that when you got the option. So I'm going to try to be good and not go crazy with too much foam adhesive. As you guys probably all know, I'm a little prone to. With one little piece at a time. Okay. Try and catch up some comments while I do this. Hello, Anne. Hello, Lorraine from Minnesota. Hi, Simon. Thanks for joining us again. All right. Next up, this is just kind of the slow, fun part of one little bit at a time and making sure you have plenty of foam adhesive. Now I'm going to ask another question for you guys to think about here as we get ready to do this. Since I'm not going to color in this image to place over the top, thinking I'll go kind of monochromatic. Do we want to do that image just in black? Do we want to do it in a soft gray? Do you want to pick one of the colors that are on here? Maybe do it in a orange or yellow or that bright pop of pink? Yes, Valerie. I think someone named Laura Basson has said that once or twice. It's kind of a good saying. Yes, you could use press and seal to keep them all together. This was pretty easy to do, so I wasn't too worried about getting them in there. So, like I said, just one little bit at a time, which fortunately isn't too hard. So for the colors, Sharon, what I was talking about was for when I get ready to do these florals. Let me pull out, this is my inspiration piece, if you can see it. So we're going to layer the florals. I'm just not going to do all the coloring. I'm going to keep it just a simple outline. So I'm just trying to pick gold. Gold would be a good choice. That would be fun. Soft gray. Connie votes for that. Hi, Natalie. Glad you could join us. Natalie's on our scrapbook design team. Oops, okay. Make sure I don't get these out of order because that's going to mess everything up. Yeah, pink, it's hard to say. Great thing is I could stamp it and do it, and if we kind of decide it's not perfect, I can just redo it later. Gray, another vote for gray. Couple more. Okay, we might have to go with gray. I think that would be, just because it wouldn't be quite as bold as the black, but I think that's true. Black would work. We could go kind of for a medium gray. So it would be not quite black, but not too soft. It would be bold enough. I figure we got time to let everyone think about it and get their votes in while I'm carefully working on this. I'm just gonna use that. Okay, we're working our way around. There's a vote for medium gray. That might be our compromise here, huh? All right. Leaving the votes open. So everyone tell me, as I'm just fiddling along here, this feels like the, yeah, not too light would be best. I think we're kind of all agreeing on that. We don't want to go too soft. So what's the weather like where everyone's at? We are, so Kinnery says medium gray for softer and black for bold, and she would love either. I think we couldn't go wrong with either, to be honest. If I had more time, I would have done both of these, but you definitely didn't want to sit and watch me use this much foam adhesive this slowly. Although it is kind of fun and therapeutic, but watching it, maybe not so much. Sharon, on my road trip, we are going to visit some really good friends in Wyoming. We lived in a little town called Pinedale. It's been, oh goodness, I think we moved back to Washington here almost 7 years ago. It's getting pretty close. Maybe six or seven. Anyway, so that's kind of our other home is the way we think of it. So we're just going to road trip. And the great thing is we're going through all the really um, quiet parts of the country through, and all just our family in the car and staying in the hotels and packing most of our food. And um, so we won't have to stop or be in anyone's way very much at all. So very much looking forward to it. It's been a long time since we've been back there, especially in the summer. So, and it's going to be sunny, and we've been missing that here in Washington. So let's see. Hot, and it feels like a lot of people are hot. 50. Oh, Janet's got a weather that feels about like ours here. Yeah, Sharon, I imagine. That's why we wanted, the summer has been kind of, hasn't been bad, but we haven't gone traveling as much as we usually like to. So this seemed like a good way to sunny Southern California. I think I would gladly take it and not complain right now. It has just been, we did have a nice weekend for the 4th, so that was a bonus. It's been a while since it's been nice on the weekend too. And yes, I bet in Texas it's very hot. Um, no AC, Sharon. We don't have AC there. And last few, oops, better get this in the right spot. Last few summers have been really hot, and we've kind of gone, we really should have gotten AC. And this summer, I'm thinking, I'm glad we didn't pick this summer because we sure wouldn't have used it. So, yes, I love this dye, but I don't know why it hadn't crossed my mind to use it to stamp a background and then die cut. So, like I said, Taeyoon's card was just struck us all as super brilliant. So it was kind of the perfect one to recreate for today. All right, 2 more pieces, so we're almost there. Trying not to go crazy on the foam adhesive, only because it takes so long to put it on, not because I don't love it. Okay. I went a little, stuck that foam adhesive generally, but it was a little off target there. Not that it probably would matter that much, but oh. And I hit the end of that roll, so it wants to stick to the thing. Fortunately, I have just a little bit of my smaller one handy. I do have more of the other, but the package isn't open. Vicky, welcome. UK, that's somewhere I want to visit too when we can travel again. All right, here we go. Last little bit on there. I'm going to pull off all of those little, I'm leaving the center open because I think that's where we're going to stamp our sentiment. I'm going to keep it simpler instead of adding a die cut sentiment. All right, so I use that just as the guide, and I can carefully pop it out of all of those little spots, all the little corners it's tucked in, and then I can save this piece and I can slap it onto a card later. Look at how pretty that is already. We haven't done anything beyond that, and it's already gorgeous. All right. So I've already got my die cut ready for that floral. So now we just need to stamp it. I think the consensus here was that we were going to stamp it in a medium gray. We weren't going to go too soft. Let me look at our grays. I told you I'm totally winging it today. So far, I think we're doing okay though. All right, I'm looking at the grays here. I think one of the 2 darker ones. I think. Should we do Metropolis or Licorice? Close to black or a little back more to the gray? What's everyone say? Let's compromise. Let's do the Licorice, I think, unless anyone else chimes in before I get it pulled out. But some people said black and some said gray. So I think if we do the dark, we're kind of hitting the mid-range there. Oh, and a couple votes for Licorice. So we'll continue on with that plan. All right, this is our usual little live trick for stamping our image. I used the negative die cut with my Misty. Oh, 1 vote for Metropolis. I think I've already committed here. I've already got the other pulled out. So I'm just going to line up this in the negative space. If you really want to be certain you've got it perfect, you can always put some scrap paper behind there and put it on. But it works pretty well for me just on this image. It's got some really good clear spots to line that up, which is nice. Then all I have to do is set my negative in there, and then we ink up our image and stamp it over. And I don't know if I got that inked all the way, so we'll see. I might have to restamp that one. Not too bad, actually. I think a little, well, actually, I think that, don't you love these inks? That was one, I wasn't even sure if I had fully inked the image up. All right, clean that just a little bit. I'll finish cleaning that later. And, oh, and I see some watercolor smudges on my desk. Let's take care of those so we don't ruin something here we don't want to. Okay, these, of course, are dye inks. So that color looks almost black right now. It is going to soften up and lighten up a bit. So just be watching and ready for that. All right, and then we just need to stamp our sentiment here in the middle, and I might do that. Let's pick one of these sentiments from this set instead of die cutting it, which means I'm going to pull out my other Misty just to make it quicker. And this we might just go ahead and stamp with the black ink. I think that little bit of contrast will be kind of nice. Magnets around the sides there. And then I'll pull out our detail black ink because that'll just make the sentiment pop a little more. And this is a really fine detail sentiment, so I'm going to plan on with my Misty. I'm not going to press crazy hard. I'm going to stamp it once. And again, I think I got a really great impression on the first try. But I'm still going to ink it up a second time and just stamp it again, really soft, pushing very gently, just to make sure I have it super crisp and dark in there. I found with these fine detail images, it's a little better just to stamp it 2 times softly and not push as hard, especially when you get like the little scripty ones. If you push super hard, sometimes it mushes out that stamp and you lose some of that fine detail. All right. And you can already see this is already softened up just a little bit on there. And I think this is going to be lots of dimension, but I kind of think I'm going to pop this up on foam from the background as well. I could put it right on there, but I feel like that added, what's that saying? Dimension is life. And I'm going to open my new roll of foam adhesive, so I have enough. And we'll just throw a little bit on the back of that and hit the high points so that we can get that layered on there. I'm not going to go crazy all the way around. I'm just going to make sure I hit enough to hold it on stable. I love how you can take, this is kind of a great example of how you can take a card that really inspires you. You can still make it your own. And even if it looks super complicated and difficult, you don't have to worry about doing it exactly like someone else did it, but you can pull some inspiration from their idea, make it your own, make it kind of what you feel is your own skill level, put your own twist on it. There's lots of different ways you can be inspired by someone else's card, and I love that I could look at her card and I could still recreate it in something that was good to do in a live, so it wouldn't, you all didn't want to sit and watch me color for half an hour to achieve that pretty of an image, and then all the different layers and steps and everything on there. But it's still going to be a beautiful card, and you'll be able to see the inspiration of where it came from. Okay, now I've got that foam adhesive on there. I'm just going to kind of center that on there. And then Can anybody guess what I'm going to have to put on here now? I'm sure everyone's going to know exactly where I'm reaching for next. And this is where the next question is. We have to add sparkle. So crystals or jewels? Which one do we want? Oh my goodness. Okay, everyone everyone knew what was coming there. Yes, and I love that the wreath that it kind of has a little bit of a twist to it. Okay. So if I was going to do crystals or jewels. If I do crystals, I think I have all of the right colors. Let's see. So the crystals are clear. They have a little more of a pointy diamond shape. They're thicker in that sense. So this card would be great because if I tuck some down there, they're going to kind of go behind that image. But with all the dimension, it might be better to go, I think on this one, I might go with, yes, the crystals do have a softer look. Let me pop some of the jewels on there. Let's see how those look. Definitely don't think I want the pink. I feel like that's a little too bold. But I'm debating on the yellow of these. And yes, the pointy end would fit in, like you said, in those openings. Oh, that yellow isn't too bad though, because then I can kind of pile it up on top of the dimension and it's not going to be too ridiculous. Let's see about that. Kind of liking that lovely lemony color. Because otherwise I'm going to want to put some of those crystals up here and then it's just going to be a crazy bit of dimension. And I think this is going to perhaps work a little bit better for what I'm hoping for. So I'm going to go just crazy, go all the way out to the ends here with sparkle, just because we can. And I don't see why not. If we're going to go crazy with them, we should do the little more reasonable size. Okay, I like that. And I feel like that bright sunny really fits the sunburst. Yeah, the pink one, I liked the pink ones too, but I think these yellow ones on here have kind of stolen my heart a little bit. I think I'm going to adjust here real quick. I want one more of the little tiny ones. Now you can see my crazy random process of how I choose where to put my jewels and everything on. It's kind of not anything super specific. Okay. Yeah, the soft pink would be pretty too. I think I've committed. I know, same thing, Sharon. Sometimes I just kind of drop them on and see where they land and adjust them based on where it feels like they fit. All right, quickly put these on, and then I think we've finished off. I feel like this was like a group effort card today. Everyone had some input on how we wanted to do it, so makes it more fun. If I had a whole bunch of them, I would send one to everybody, but I don't. And I'm pretty sure Kinnery is going to claim this one, so I'm going to have to send it her way. All right. Yes, Erica, I actually thought about that. If we hadn't had so many different things going on this card, I thought the inside would be a really pretty shaker as well. It would just be one more. I just have to think out in my head how to engineer to make it work on there. All right. This is just Glossy Accents. This is the glue Janet that I use. It's my favorite for putting these on. And then I use some form of a jewel picker. This is the Crystal Katana. And I also have a fine tip on here so I can put a small amount of the Glossy Accents on there. All right, getting a phone call in my ear there. Okay, so here's the finished card. Here's our inspiration, and we made it our own. Kind of took some twists and turns. Thank you, Taeun, for the beautiful inspiration. And thanks all for hanging in with me as we kind of figured out what we were doing along the way. So I'm going to give Kinnery a minute here to go ahead and pick a winner. The Kathy, the tool picker. This one's a crystal katana. Another one I use and love is the Studio Katya. I don't remember what embellishment tool, I think is what that one's called. Yes, acetate under the wreath. You'd have to get your foam adhesive in there and everything as well. But that would be a really fun. And then if you did a die cut sentiment across the front too, kind of like she did there, or even a simpler one, that would be a super fun and easy way to do it. So Kat's name was Katya. That's a pretty name. Oh, okay, and here we have a winner for today. Billy D, you are the winner for today's giveaway. You can email Leah at Pink Fresh Studio. I see that Kinnery's posted that on there. All right, everybody, thank you. Kathy, one of those tools, they are both on Simon Says. If you check out on my blog, any of my blog posts, pretty much any Pink Fresh card, I've got jewels or crystals on there, and I have a link to them in different places. So you can check that way if you want to find it. But Crystal Katana, if you search on Simon Says or anything, you'll find it quickly that way. So. All right, everybody, thank you so much for coming today. Thanks for hanging out with me. And I will see you in a little bit over a week on that'll be July 16th on Facebook Live. And I hope everyone has a wonderful week and weekend in the meantime. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.